Hello guys, before the video starts I just wanted to say thanks for all the support on the project so far. This is an ongoing original SCP story. If you haven't seen the previous videos then I would highly recommend watching those first. But yeah, links are in the description. If you wanted to read the stories for yourself, they are posted on Wattpad and Friction Press the same day they come out here. Anyways, I'll see you on the other side.
Containment breach detected.
I remember thinking, what kind of prison goes around shooting its inmates like that? But then the shooting stopped, and what I heard in its place haunts my nightmares, ringing down the hall, echoing off the dark walls, and burning into my mind, ringing even louder than Jake's voice in my head were the screams. I couldn't see it, of course, but I definitely heard it. The sound of a massacre, men letting out that last cry before getting, well, I try not to think about it too much. What I heard after the last cry hushed is something I definitely could have lived without. The sound of inhuman, riotous laughter. It sounded like it was multiplying, more and more of these inhuman calls joining in an unholy chorus, and this unknown darkness all around me.
What the hell is that sound?
Just run, Kenny. All I knew is I had to run away. Whatever was down that hall is something I didn't want to run into. That's when I felt Jake reach into my head and place something inside. He said it was a download of sorts. Information I would need, at least it was the simplest way he could describe it. He said it was information I already knew at one point because it was a part of the plan, after all. I don't know why he thought that while I was running from it was the best time for me to know what I was running from. At least I knew if it caught me, I didn't have a chance to survive. The thing that Jake just unleashed was phase 1 of the plan. The laughing rabbits, Omega 116. Those things were one of the most terrifying creatures contained in that facility. Something so disturbing that if it got out and made it to a populated city, humanity was done. Jake knew that every available resource would be used to ensure those things did not get out. Omega 116 is an entity with the facial features, fur, and ears of a German Alaskan rabbit. Before you go thinking that it may be cute, that's where the similarities with any normal creature ends. Omega 116 looked like an elongated humanoid rabbit with abnormally long and spindly limbs and an extended spine which can bend in many jointed locations. The name Laughing Rabbit comes from the sound the revolting creature makes when feeding on the flesh of its prey, which sounds like a guttural laugh. Despite the thin limbs, the rabbits are notably stronger than humans while being less than a quarter the weight. The worst thing about Omega 116 was how fast it reproduced. It is an asexual creature. As long as there's food, it can separate and multiply. A human-sized male would produce up to 7 fully grown offspring, or clones, or whatever the fuck you want to call them. Regardless, judging from the laughing, they definitely were eating their fill. The thing about the rabbits is, they go into stasis like hibernation when exposed to bright lights, like the ones that were in the hall and in my cell, the ones that Jake turned off. Now these monsters were unleashed and the first line of defense against them just became food for a brand new generation of ravenous monsters. That was the beginning of what I can only call madness so thorough that I don't know how I managed to claw my way out. I wish that I could say that I kept my composure, but fortunately that's not the case. As soon as I received that information and I knew what was just beyond that veil of darkness on that very same hallway I was running down, I screamed. Tears streamed down my face as I stumbled my way through the darkness as fast and messy as I could. I could barely hear anything over my own heartbeat pounding in my ears and my breath struggling to keep up with the panic. In that moment, all I could think about was getting to a door, something that could seal me away from those things. The hallway was pitch black, of course, so it was a stun whenever I suddenly hit what felt like another metal blast door. My heart sunk when I realized the hallway had been sealed. I was trapped in there. Even though I had run for a little while by this point, I could still hear the rabbits laughing and enjoying their freshly prepared meal and multiplying in number. I felt around the door for any way to open it. A panel, a latch, a goddamn doorknob. That's when I heard the most terrifying thing of all. Silence. The only time they don't laugh is when they're hibernating in the light or when they're hunting. I couldn't help but feel betrayed. Was that actually part of the plan, to use me as bait to move these laughing rabbits? I lead them away and the actual escape plan could go down. I was just a sacrificial pawn. I felt around the door, on the walls, to see if I missed a hallway or something to get out. In my panic, I didn't realize how much noise I was making until I heard the faint sound of scraping in the distance. It was the sound of animals' claws scratching along the ground, getting closer to me, cautiously. I could tell what it was. I'm not a fool or anything. It wasn't one or two, no, it was dozens of animal paws pattering along the floor, on the walls, and I could even hear them scurrying on the ceiling.
Jake, you said you can open doors, right? Can you hear me? There's a blast door here. Open it. Shit, man, answer me. Are you there? Can you hear me?
Oh my god, yeah, I can hear you. The door isn't supposed to be there, Jake said, but he sounded like he was in pain. Just, give me a second. I have to concentrate.
Give you a second? What do you mean? I don't have a second. I can hear them getting closer.
I stated, pressing myself up against the blast door. This isn't easy, but I got you, Kenny. You have to have a bit of faith. I'm going to have to recover after this for a little while. I won't be able to communicate with you. Just run as fast as you can get to row 927 cell. It'll help you get to me and get away from Omega 116. Keep your head on the swivel out there. Those things are dangerous.
Whose plan was it to use monsters anyway? This is crazy.
This was your plan, Kenny. Suddenly, the door clicked several times as the maglocks released. The scampering of the laughing rabbits increased as if they knew I was getting ready to run. I could hear them only a few yards away and closing in faster. The door opened upwards, so I got as low as possible to crawl underneath as soon as I could fit. Surprisingly, there was light on the other side. Not the ultra bright ones for once, just regular fluorescent ones on the ceiling. Red emergency lights also flashed along the walls. I was in a massive concrete hallway with a four-way intersection only a few feet from me. I didn't have time to think. I had to move. As soon as I cleared the door, I ran to the intersection and turned right. I could hear the rabbits in the hall, but I didn't dare turn around to see if they followed me. I turned another corner and hid in a small entranceway. The sound of boots rang down the hall to meet the scampering of the rabbits. I heard the commander barking out orders for them to get in formation. In the gunfire that preceded, I got up and continued to run, knowing that now was a better time than any to get as much distance between me and those things as possible. As I ran, it wasn't long before I heard laughing again, indicating that the guards did not last long, and there were even more of those things to worry about. I couldn't imagine how things could have gotten any worse. My mind couldn't even comprehend what these monsters were. Better yet, how anyone could think to release them would be a good idea. In the middle of my thoughts, I heard an explosion and the facility shook so violently I was thrown to the ground. Confused and dazed, I stumbled back up to my feet and used the wall to support me as I caught my breath. The lights flickered on and off, which did not inspire confidence, especially with those laughing rabbits roaming around. I looked down the hall as I rested, making sure I hadn't been spotted. Gunfire, laughing, and alarms blared all around me, offering me no reprieve. I knew I had to continue on, or I would be found by the guards, or worse, one of those things. At that moment, I felt something drip on me from the ceiling. I touched my head and looked at my hand. It was blood. I looked up and saw long, black fingers coming from the vent above me. Blood and viscera caked its nails, and it pulled itself out, its head slowly poking from the opening, its crazed eyes watching me carefully. The deformed perversion of nature, vaguely resembling that of a rabbit, showed its blood-covered maw as it continued to pull itself from the vent. Alrighty guys, that's it for today. If you want to read the story for yourself, I am posting it on Wattpad and Fiction Press, same day. Video comes out here. You can also follow me on social media. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe. If you didn't like the video, please like and subscribe anyway. Then tell your friends and family about it. Then come back next time to see if I do any better. Anyways, I'm out.